There are a number of dysfunctional businesses in Arlen, but probably none more dysfunctional than the Arlen Gun Club. And if we're talking about the Arlen Gun Club, yeah, y'all know what's coming.
The Arlen Gun Club, now accident-free for almost a week.
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, let's do this. The Arlen Gun Club, not to be confused with the Heimlich County Gun Club that we see several times, such as in Pregnant Pause, where Dale learns about the possibility of him becoming a bounty hunter.
You're telling me there's a poorly trained quasi-legal police force that operates with few, if any, government controls? It's about time.
It's also where Bobby takes a gun safety course, as well as competing alongside Hank in a father-son shooting contest in how to fire a rifle without really trying.
I didn't know it was loaded is not an acceptable excuse. I wasn't there, or I never met those people, are better excuses.
That same episode marked the first appearance of the Arlen Gun Club when Hank took Bobby there in order to use their shooting range. And Bobby gives us an idea of what condition the clubhouse is in.
Wow, I always thought this was a crack house.
Inside is Dale and his constituents, seeing as Dale is the president of the gun club, which means a lot to Dale, but it's more of a in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king kind of situation. Hank, as I mentioned, wanted to use the shooting range and has to make a tough decision on whether or not to join the club for free or pay $2 to just use the range.
Hank Hill, you finally decided to join our club.
I'm not joining, I just want to know if I can use the range, Dale.
There's a $2 charge for non-members to shoot here.
What's membership cost?
Lifetime membership is free.
I'll just pay the $2.
Yeah, he made the right decision. I wouldn't want to join either, but then again, I agree with Groucho Marx in that I refuse to join any club that would have me as a member. Then we get to Dogdale Afternoon, where it's verified for the first time that Dale is in fact president of the gun club, though Hank believes he got the position for a reason other than his legendary leadership ability.
But he is president of the gun club.
Yes, he is president. But only because he owns the most guns.
Dale also ends up in a standoff with the police due to them believing that he was a shooter up in the tower. Most likely this is a reference to the incident in 1966 where a man who I will not name killed 15 people and wounded 31 others from inside the tower of the main building of the University of Texas in Austin, after he murdered his mother and wife, by the way. Anywho, some unnamed members of the gun club are also there and decide maybe they need to handle this themselves.
The police aren't trained for this. Let's go, gun club.
But Dale's our president.
I didn't vote for him.
Though rather than the police or any form of vigilante taking the shot, Dale would rather it be Bobby, who he knows wouldn't miss, and I always found it funny how quickly Bobby is willing to take Dale down. Though of course the police, yeah, they're not going to let that one happen.
I'm coming down. If you're going to shoot me, I want Bobby Hill to take the shot, because Bobby will put me down clean.
Okay.
Oh, and those gun club members that again are technically Dale's constituents do in fact go full vigilante and try to take him down while he's surrendering. But Hank pulls a Hank and literally takes one for the team.
Who's that?
Vigilante! Hank!
Also, I wanted to point out that a couple of these guys were seen listening to one of Dale's stories, this one fashion related, back in How to Fire a Rifle Without Really Trying, but again, they go unnamed.
So then Ray walks in with the same snow camouflage bib overalls that he knew I planned to wear that same hunt.
Dale's gun club presidency also gives us a good example of how little Nancy knows, or honestly in some episodes cares, about Dale, seeing as she wasn't aware that he held that office, which we see in Nancy Boys.
I like your tie.
Found it on the ground. Haven't worn it since I was inaugurated president of the gun club.
I didn't know you were president. Congratulations.
She also apparently can't remember Plan 51 Tango, even though they hold drills for it, but that's a whole nother thing.
Quick, Nancy, Plan 51 Tango!
What are you talking about, Shug?
51 Tango! In the event of a hostile takeover of the gun club resulting in a Dale-threatening situation, I flee to Costa Rica. Why do we even have the drills if you aren't going to pay attention?
The gun club shooting range is where Dale meets up with Octavio to put a hit out on Chip Block in Who's the Dummy Now, which makes me wonder if Octavio is a member or if he just paid the $2.
Octavio, I want you to do the exact same thing I just did to this picture to this guy in person. Except do it right here.
Okay, I'm gonna need $20 now, and $20 when it is done. And another $20 for expenses.
And though Octavio gets fired from the job due to leaving evidence on a tape recorder, Dale would end up taking care of old Chip himself via wood chipper. And rumor has it that ever since, the gun club has been haunted by the ghosts of Chip Block, 2 chairs, and a toboggan.
You're next. I'm kicking your ass through that thing.
You wouldn't hit an unconscious man.
The gun club is where Dale and Nancy hold their 15th wedding anniversary party in Hank's Choice.
Hey everybody, look what the gun club made for our anniversary. After dessert, they're going to fire 15 bullets into our hearts. One for every year of conjugal bliss. Aww. Okay, now everyone get into single file for dessert. Single file.
And up to this point, Dale has been the only named member of the gun club. But that changed in Soldier of Misfortune, where Dale is running for his 4th term as president, and we're introduced to several members over the course of the episode. Starting with Jim, who's voiced by Toby Huss.
The strongest man in the world.
And who is apparently a fan of Dale's macaroons.
Dale, every year I vote for you just to get my hands on one of your fine macaroons.
Well, in that case, Jim, take 2 and vote twice.
We're also introduced to Mad Dog, voiced by a sentient set of teeth that answer to the name Gary Busey, who clearly has very little respect for Dale and is a tad bit of a loose cannon.
If you're not going to respect the man, Mad Dog, at least respect the office.
Gribble, I wouldn't vote for a clown like you if I had a gun to my head. See?
Now, a few things to point out here. 1, never put a gun to your head. You always handle a gun as though it's loaded, even if you know it's not. And 2, he's a rare case of showing proper trigger discipline. Notice his finger is not on the trigger, which is often not the case with animation. Octavio here, finger on the trigger. Here's Bobby, finger on the trigger. Police Sniper, who should know better and is struggling to keep Bobby from taking his gun, finger on the trigger. That's one twitch away from inadvertently blowing someone's brains out. And yet, of all characters, it's Mad Dog that shows proper trigger discipline. Anywho, another club member, Earl Boley, voiced by Phil Lamar, comes to Dale's defense, and it's clear that Dale's been telling BS stories, surprise, surprise, to the extent that he's taken an ad out in the back of Soldier of Fortune as a mercenary.
Hey, watch your mouth, Mad Dog. While you were safely tucked away in prison, Dale was out there kicking ass for the highest bidder.
Earl is probably best remembered because he's, well, black and gay. And if you're surprised that a rural-ish gun club in Texas would totally accept a gay black member, you don't know much about rural-ish gun clubs in Texas. And yes, Dale is sad when he loses Earl's vote later on.
Mad Dog's challenging me for president, and he's already got the black vote, Earl, and the gay vote. Earl.
But how did Dale lose Earl's vote? Well, while Dale was telling one of his made-up mercenary stories, this one in particular was about how he assassinated a Central American dictator by posing as a flower delivery man. He got kinda amped up on the web of lies that he was weaving and pulled out his handgun. But then he had to try and be flashy, leading to an accidental discharge.
He's pushing up daisies! Yeah!
So, A, I'm shocked there's that much money in the cash register. And B, remember that discussion on trigger discipline? Well, apparently Dale never got that memo. And as you can see, his finger is on the trigger pretty much the whole time that gun is in his hand. And as can be expected, the other guys in the club are not impressed with their president.
Yeah, that's one for the safety video. Come on, guys, lighten up.
Almost immediately, Mad Dog goes on the offensive with his eyes on the presidency, taking Dale's presidential parking spot and setting out a spread that put Dale's cookies to shame.
I'll just put the cookies over on the...
You're going down, Gribble. And unlike your macaroons, you're staying down.
The prospect of losing his position at the gun club, as well as the drop in respect the other members hold for him, are a lot for Dale to handle. And we see him pretty much lose all of his confidence, especially after another mishap involving Joe Jack.
But now look at me!
Mommy's burning.
Say a whipping now, folks. Trigger discipline. Dale becomes a sniveling mess after this, and to get his confidence back and his underwear back on, Hank and the gang hire him through his Soldier of Fortune ad to do a basic job.
But my name is...
Frank! Frank Hill! Wait, no. Fred Hill!
Mr. Big.
My name is Mr. Big.
Yes!
So the plan was to hire Dale to do a basic idiot-proof mission that no one could possibly screw up. And in doing so, Dale would get his groove back. Solid plan.
Briefcase.
What the hell are you doing?
Give it. Pocket sand.
Except no, it didn't work, because of course it didn't work. To quote Robert Heinlein, never underestimate the power of human stupidity. Not only does he steal somebody's briefcase, which contains a kid's present no less, he gets it in his head that the teddy bear was meant to have drugs in it, that people wanted to kill him, that Mad Dog was Mr. Big and had set up the whole thing. And at that point, Dale wanted to either kill Mad Dog or run away to Costa Rica.
Where are the drugs?
What drugs?
The drugs that the drug lord will search for in each and every one of my cavities when I present him with an empty teddy bear.
The guys head over to Mad Dog's house where the celebration for Mad Dog becoming president was going down because that's where they figured Dale would be. But unfortunately, even though they came in peace, they were quickly captured and tied up.
Yeah, man, you talk about that. Bill, watch out!
What? I'm too bad!
And though they supported Mad Dog in his campaign against Dale, both Jim and Earl are not exactly on board with the direction that Mad Dog was taking things.
There wasn't anything on the invitation about taking hostages.
15 minutes ago, we were talking about microwaving a pizza. What happened here?
The guys end up calling Dale for help, and yes, it puts Hank in what looks like a compromising position, but it does get help on the way.
Oh my God, what the hell are you doing?
Nothing, no, I swear, I was just calling for help.
Well, until Dale gets captured trying to sneak in, but for once, Dale did something smart and called for a bunch of flowers to be delivered, therefore recreating his assassination story, and again, Jim and Earl are not on board with Mad Dog when he expects them to have a shootout with what they believe to be federal agents.
No way! I'll have cake with you anytime, but you shoot your own feds.
Yeah, Mad Dog. There's only one man I take a bullet for, and he's home making my supper.
Mad Dog ends up running off, and Dale gets reelected as president of the Gun Club, running on a platform that I could totally understand, with Dale back to telling his stories by the end of the episode.
All in favor of re-electing Dale Alvin Gribble, who is currently running on the Save Your Sorry Asses platform, say aye.
Aye.
We learn in Of Mice and Little Green Men that the Gun Club has a weekly dinner theater night, which is actually pretty cool. It's always nice to take in some culture.
Hey, Dale, you always go to that dinner theater with your gun club buddies.
Every Wednesday night.
Now, at some point before the Peggy Horror Picture Show, Dale ceased to be the Gun Club president, seeing as a coup was being attempted with him as a possible replacement for the guy that replaced him.
Ah, you're right. Sorry I snapped at you, Joseph. See, there's gonna be a coup today at the Gun Club, and I may become the new president. If I can get over these pre-coup jitters.
And thanks to a practical joke by Bobby and Joseph going in a way that no one expected, Dale ends up beating out Earl as the new president due to his 25-cent massage using a quarter that Bobby had edged with a Sharpie.
Where's Dale?
Cow didn't show.
All right, it looks like you're our new president, Earl.
Oh.
Hey, guys.
I think he's wearing war paint.
I'm with Dale.
Me too. Give me that pen.
The last appearance of the Gun Club, and where we get to meet more members, is in The Men Who Knew Too Much, when Minh joins the Gun Club in order to practice her skeet shooting, which is her and Con's ticket to finally joining Nine Rivers Country Club.
Nine Rivers Country Club, now accepting applications from most of Ireland.
Now you may be wondering, if there are other shooting ranges, why would Minh join the Arlen Gun Club? Well, that's actually explained.
Stupid real estate development. That's the third third gun range I call that's closed to make room for new condos.
And I love how they're touching on a real-world issue. Most ranges, as you can imagine, are built out in the boonies in the middle of nowhere, which isn't an issue until some developer buys up a bunch of land and builds a bunch of McMansions that are bought up by rich people that want to get away from, let's be honest, poor people. And of course, once they move out there, well, shooting ranges can be kind of loud. I mean, it's gunfire. So they start complaining to the powers that be, who more often than not just happen to be their buddies, and the range ends up getting shut down due to being too loud for the new neighbors. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen to places that have been around for decades. Anywho, Minh decides to give it a try, which surprises Dale because he figures Minh hates him, which, yeah, that makes sense.
Don't be a silly goose. Why would you think I hated you?
Well, you always talk about how you hate my son and how you hate my friends, how much you hate me.
Cultural misunderstanding.
And Minh is introduced to some of the members, like Fitzy, who's voiced by David Herman, Moose, who's voiced by Randall Reeder, and Johnny Knucklehead, voiced by Scott Clace.
Guys call me Johnny Knucklehead, cause I ain't too bright.
Okay, Knucklehead.
And I'm not gonna lie, if he's the dumb one of the group, that worries me. The guys in the club accept her rather quickly, but she's not quite sold on them or their club. She refers to the clubhouse as a pigsty and the guys as bears with furniture. To be fair, it's possible they went to the Cotton Hill School of Clubhouse Building and Cleaning.
Using a saw for a weapon makes about as much sense as using a gun to cut a 2x4. That's how my dad built my treehouse. How he cleaned it, too.
But Khan pushes her to be more open-minded for the sake of their Nine Rivers dream, and the guys show up to take Minh to her initiation ceremony.
As a new member, we have come to kidnap you for your secret club initiation.
We learn that the club's secret password is to howl like a werewolf, and it seems like doing this actually loosens Minh up, as she completes the initiation ceremony, becoming a full-fledged member of the Arlen Gun Club.
Mimi sola mimi, ooh wacka wacka mimi.
Iska mimi sola mimi, ooh waka waka mimi.
Yep, diddly oten doten, ooh wacka wacka choten.
Yep, diddly oten doten, ooh waka waka choten.
And not long after, Minh brings up the idea for the club to build a skeet shooting range, which the guys agree to quickly. And it could be looked at as Minh using the club for her own gain, but we see that the guys are growing on her too, and she's legitimately starting to like hanging out with them.
Oh, these are Fitzy's. He always forgets to lube the obverse side of the trigger. And you should have seen Moose today. He fell down in the grass, and when he got up, he had leaves all stuck in his beard. It was so cute.
Minh? Don't go native on me.
So the guys at the club make Minh a skeet shooting range and a macrame plaque that kinda has her name on it. And by practicing at the gun club, Minh is able to impress the leadership at Nine Rivers, with her and Khan being offered membership if she helps them win the shooting competition.
Yes!
Congratulations, Khan. By the way, there's a refresher course in club etiquette that you'll be taking.
Now a part of the team at Nine Rivers, Minh has to break it to the guys who were under the impression that she was going to shoot for their team. They even went so far as to elect her president after Dale stepped down, and yeah, of course they feel betrayed.
You took an oath to be loyal to your fellow members.
Well, I only swore on a beer can.
Yeah, so I guess that means it never counted.
And they decide to take it out on the plaque they made for Minh. Well, they try to. But first, Dale misses every shot, and on the second try, all of them miss every shot. That plan being a failure, they decide to get back at her by crashing the event with their guns. And I probably don't need to say this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. Don't do this.
Wait a minute. We've got guns! We can break into their snooty club and wreck their snooty contest!
Wreck it? With what?
With our guns!
So they sneak onto the golf course, guns in hand, stopping to purify themselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. And they show up to the event right as Minh is about to shoot. Though by that point, they're not too angry anymore.
Why the hell you come here?
At first, revenge. But now we're too impressed by the luxury to stay mad at you. That pool's like 80 degrees. And did you see they have a tortoise walking around?
And they're quickly disarmed and detained, with Ted demanding to know if Minh knows them. And against Khan's wishes, she tells Ted the truth.
Yeah, I'm the president.
Oh, whatever that means. I still want them ejected and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
She then covers for them by claiming that they were her guests, using up all of her guest passes, which Khan is not happy about, and they get set free. I'm not sure if Minh is still a member of the gun club at the end of the series. It wouldn't surprise me if she stayed part of it as a secret, but she ends the episode back in the fold. And we see a kind of heartwarming scene that's also slightly terrifying, considering we find out that before meeting Minh, the guys at the club had an odd way of aiming.
That whole looking before you shoot thing you taught us really does work. Me and Moose just hit 2 traps in only 8 shots.
Amazing. Put Moose on. Moose. Ow! Talk later.
So the Arlen Gun Club was kind of like Dale's Cheers, a place where everybody knew his name, and they somehow actually believed his BS stories, or at least they were nice enough to humor him. We don't see it that often, though it's implied that Dale spends a lot of time there. It's possible he just started spending more time in the basement, and I do wish we'd gotten to see more of the members. The few times they did get to speak were typically pretty memorable, and their interactions as just a group of oddballs that found others that were on the same way showed a good dynamic between them. The Arlen Gun Club might have been weird, but they're mostly harmless to others kind of weird. Thank God.
The invitation says we're supposed to bring chips and dip. We ain't got no chips and dip.
When I was your age, I used to get so excited about hitting the target, I'd run right out onto the range. That's how I lost this thumb, and later, this eye. If it weren't for the NRA safety guidelines I eventually accepted, I'd be a stub standing here before you.